and thank you so much for joining me back here. Today we're going to do a video all about the unpopular book opinions that I have. I kind of have a variety here. Some of these are more general things just for readers as a whole. Some of these are more specific towards certain books or maybe certain series, but we have a little bit of variety here. So let's jump into it. The first one might be a little controversial. I like the Lord of the Rings movies more than I like the Lord of the Rings books. I think this stems from two things. One, I grew up with the movies before I ever read the books. My dad loved these movies. I watched them with him all the time. My dad has since passed, so these kind of just have like a special place in my heart almost. I watch these, I think of my dad. It makes me reminisce, and they're just good, to be completely honest. They're good movies. They're good fantasy movies that get me going and like get me excited to just get into a fantasy world. So I like them for that reason. I don't dislike the books. To me, first of all, I read this in middle school. I read all three of these for the first time in middle school, and I think it was way over my reading capabilities. It went over my head, a lot of it. It was hard for me to process. I have since tried to read them as an adult, and they are easier as an adult, but Tolkien's writing is just too much for me. It's too wordy, it's too lengthy, it's too drawn out, it's too whimsical almost. I don't know. I don't consider myself to be an unintelligent person, but I need something a little simpler personally. So I do prefer the movies over the books. Second opinion, I prefer paperbacks over hardbacks. Hardbacks look good on a shelf to read. I prefer paperbacks, which might be considered an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to go further and say, but digital reading is underrated. You hear all these hardcore readers talk about how physical books are better, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I like reading physical books, but I think digital reading is underrated for sure. It is so much more convenient. It is so much more convenient to just throw my phone in my bag as opposed to like 2 or 3 books. I can have however many books I want on this thing. And if I'm standing in line at the grocery store and it's like a 10-minute wait, because it has happened before, I can just pull out my phone and start reading instead of having to lug around a book. So much easier when you have kids as well. If I'm going to the bathroom and I want to sneak a page or two in, I'm gonna do it on my phone. I'm not gonna bring a physical book to the bathroom and then risk like my kids barging in, dropping it in the sink or something. I don't know. I think digital reading is underrated. The third one I think is an unpopular opinion just because my opinion differs from everybody. I don't think people will hate on me for this one, but I don't like smut. I don't like it. It's very popular here recently, especially on like Book Talk and Bookstagram and all that kind of stuff. People enjoy smut and that's fine, but I don't like it. I don't mind some spicy scenes, some more intimate scenes if they organically fit into the story, but I don't like it smut just for smut's sake. Tessa Bailey comes to my mind when I think of this for some reason, although I know there are ones that are like way smuttier out there. I don't like Tessa Bailey for that reason, just because I feel like every page is something like that, and it's not what I enjoy. I'm much more focused on the plot, if it's a good plot, if the characters are relatable, that kind of stuff. I'm not a sexual person. If you're not new to my channel, you have heard me make this claim before, but it makes me uncomfortable a little bit. I don't like reading it, and especially if it goes into great detail. I'm kind of just like, it doesn't do anything for me. If anything, it just is awkward to me, and now I'm ready to move past it. Next one, I destroy my books. Not intentionally. I don't sit there and I rip them apart, but I'll write in them if I want to. I dog-ear the pages if I need to stop and I don't have a bookmark. I highlight them. I bend the spines. I don't like it when the covers get bent, but spines and stuff are fine. I don't treat my books as if they're like this prized possession or something like that. I do display them. I do like to keep them and collect them and all that kind of stuff if I really love them. But at the same time, like, I think all of the little marks and stuff that you make inside of them, one, show that you read them, and two, kind of show your favorite parts about them. If I dog-eared a page, a couple weeks later, I'll go back, or even years later, I'll go back and I see that dog-eared page and I'm like, I had to dog-ear that page and stop reading because my son did this and this and he needed my attention. So it also brings back memories for me whenever I go back and reread them. which I like. So yeah, I don't idolize my books. My next one is one that might hurt people's feelings, and I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but this is just my personal unpopular opinion. I don't like poetry, and I think it's stupid. I know that, I don't know, I tried writing poetry when I was in like high school, whatever. You know, everyone's angsty in high school and middle school. You want to get your feelings out. You feel like no one understands you, and that's fine. And I think poetry can be a good outlet for that. But guys, I have an English degree. I have a teaching degree. I have taught people poetry before, and I still don't get it. I don't get what makes a poem, because you can make anything a poem. I can write a paragraph on a page that should be prose. It should be considered prose instead of poetry. But if I call it poetry, daggone it, it's poetry. And that just does not make sense to me. I think I just like structure. I like rules. I like some kind of like organization, like this is how it is. And poetry does not follow any of that. You can make poetry whatever you want it to be, and my mind just has a hard time grasping it. So I don't like it for that reason. If I do like poetry, I like old school poetry. I think these are the only two poetry books I have on my shelves. I have John Donne and Anne Bradstreet. I got these when I was in college. I did papers on both of these. We did a lot of John Donne in my English degree. And this isn't even all poetry. I mean, there's some like explanatory type stuff in here, but yeah, like, you know, so you can see, just to prove my other point, I do write in my books, especially when it's for school or something like that. So I did like some of these. A lot of these are faith-based though, which I actually have a point about that here in a minute. Same for Anne Bradstreet. I did a paper on her as well. I like old school poetry, but old school poetry also usually follows some kind of structure, which I think is why I like it more than modern poetry. Next up, I have one that I know a lot of people won't agree with me about. I like Tamlin. I don't hate him from A Court of Thorns and Roses. Everybody hates on him so much. I'm secretly hoping for a redemption arc. Were his actions great? No. Did he handle everything the way he should have? No. Does Feyre have a right to be upset with him? Yes. Do I think the man deserves to die and like lose his entire court and kingdom? No, I don't. I would really like to read a few chapters from Tamlin's point of view, because I don't think he was malicious in his intent at all. I think he sincerely wanted to help Feyre, and he may not have known like how to do it, but he was trying to just be there for her and to protect her. And I don't think that there's like, I don't know. I don't think he deserves as much hate as he gets for that. Yeah, like I say, he didn't handle it the right way, but his intentions were good. So I don't hate him like everybody else does. And like I say, I'm hoping for a redemption arc. I would love to see that. Moving on. Next one. I like faith-based books, specifically romance, but not Christian romance. Christian romance I find a little boring, to be completely honest, and they're always so dramatic. Like there's always some kind of big plot, like devastating scene in which the main character is like broken, and I don't necessarily want that every time I read. I'm more of a happy reader. I like reading happy things, but I do like faith-based topics in my reading. But that just stems from my love for Christ itself. When I read through The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, what is that series? Narnia. When I read through the Chronicles of Narnia, I specifically like took notes and bookmarked and stuff, like faith-based symbolism and stuff like that in it. I would love to go through and find the same in Lord of the Rings. I read a lot of Amish romances just because I like those pure faith-based romances. So yeah, I like Christ-centered things, and I know that's not always popular, but it's a part of who I am, and so that's what I like. Next one. Problematic books are still fun to read, and since the whole point of my reading is for fun, I know other people read for other reasons. They want to learn, they want to expand their knowledge, they want to become more diverse, and it's excellent. For me, I just want to have fun. I just want some entertainment. I don't really watch a lot of TV or like videos or anything like that, so this is what I do for fun, so I want to have fun. So even if a book is problematic, if I'm having fun, I'm going to still read it. Big one that comes to mind, with this opinion is Twilight. Listen, Edward is problematic. Bella's relationship with Edward and Jacob, problematic. I read through it last year, I think, as an adult that was married and had kids, and it was just red flag after red flag. But they're fun to read. I enjoy myself when I read them. So I'm gonna keep reading them and rereading them because they're fun. I only have a couple more. Next one, I don't like readathons. I think they're a good way to build community and to connect with other people in the book community, whether it's Bookstagram, Book Talk, BookTube, but I personally don't like them. I don't like having a structure that I have to stick to. The closest thing that I found that I enjoy to like a readathon is buddy reading. Ange and I over at Books with Ange have been buddy reading a Enigma in the Ashes series. We're on the second one right now, and I love it. I love that, but it's just the two of us, and we kind of check back with each other like, hey, I'm at this point, and maybe I'm at this point, so like I either need to catch up or she needs to slow down, you know, that kind of stuff. So we can do it one-on-one as opposed to like a readathon, structuring out what I read. I'm definitely a mood reader, so doing that just desensitizes me. It makes me not want to read, to be completely honest. Readathons kill my reading instead of boost it, so I don't like them. I see the appeal, they don't work for me. The last one is maybe a little anticlimactic, but I want to say it because daggone it, I think about it all the time. I don't like The Great Gatsby. It's a bad classic, it's boring. I like some classics. I studied those for 3 years in college, but that one, it's boring. So there we go. Those are some unpopular book opinions that I have, specific book series and also some general ones. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe down below and leave a comment. Let me know some of your unpopular book opinions. If you agree with any of mine, if you disagree with any of mine, let me know. I love to hear other people's opinions. It's one of the biggest reasons I like doing this channel. You guys are awesome. I'm so thankful for you, and I'm so blessed to have you here on my channel. And we'll meet back here next time. See ya!